Commander Elena Reyes stood at the bridge of the ISS Defiant, her eyes fixed on the swirling purple vortex of the quantum sensor display. The massive fleet of the Arcturus Dominion would arrive any minute now. 300 ships against one. The odds would have seemed impossible to any other species in the galaxy, but they weren't human. Signal from Arcturus Command. Lieutenant Sarah Chen announced from her communication station. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Let's hear their final ultimatum. Elena said, her voice steady despite the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of High Marshal Kfax. His crystalline exoskeleton sparkled with embedded rank markers, and his 4 eyes gleamed with cold certainty. Commander Reyes, your species has been given adequate time to consider our terms. Humanity's genetic code contains too much potential for violence and chaos. Submit to immediate genetic restructuring or face extinction. You have 1 solar hour to comply. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Arcturians, with their rigid hierarchy and crystalline biology, had spent centuries perfecting their society through genetic engineering. They saw humanity's adaptability and unpredictability as a disease that needed to be cured. What they failed to understand was that these very traits were humanity's greatest strength. Chief Engineer Morris, Elena called out. Status of the dark matter core. Stable and ready, Commander. Morris responded from his station deep within the ship. Though I still say this is theoretical physics taken to an insane extreme. Noted, Chief. But insanity is what they expect from us anyway. Elena turned her attention back to the communication screen. High Marshal Kfax, humanity respectfully declines your offer. We will neither submit to modification nor extinction. Kfax's crystalline features hardened. Then you leave us no choice. Your single vessel cannot hope to stand against the might of the Dominion fleet. Prepare to be. Elena cut the transmission with a gesture. All hands, battle stations. Dr. Patel, begin dark matter initialization sequence. Lieutenant Chen, broadcast our sensor data back to Earth Command. If this works, they'll need to know how we did it. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as her orders were carried out. The Defiant's experimental dark matter core began to pulse with an otherworldly energy that the Dominion's sensors couldn't detect. Humanity had spent decades appearing technologically inferior, while secretly mastering the one force in the universe the Arcturians had dismissed as unusable. Multiple quantum signatures detected, announced Lieutenant Rodriguez from Tactical. The Dominion fleet is arriving. Space itself seemed to tear open as hundreds of crystalline warships emerged from quantum space. Their bioengineered hulls sparkled like diamonds in the starlight, beautiful and deadly. They moved in perfect formation, a testament to their species' dedication to order and control. Dark matter field at full power, Dr. Puddle reported, her hands dancing across her console. Ready to initiate the resonance cascade on your mark. Elena took a deep breath. Everything humanity had learned about dark matter manipulation had led to this moment. The Arcturians believed their crystalline technology was perfect, unbeatable. They were about to learn that perfection could be a weakness. Target their command ship, Elena ordered. Let's show High Marshal Kfax exactly what one human vessel can accomplish. The Defiant's dark matter core thrummed with power as the experimental weapons system engaged. Around them, space itself began to warp and twist in ways that defied conventional physics. The approaching Dominion fleet faltered as their crystalline hulls encountered frequencies they were never designed to resist. Direct hit on enemy vanguard, Rodriguez reported with barely contained excitement. Their crystalline matrix is destabilizing exactly as predicted. Through the view screen, Elena watched as the first wave of Dominion ships began to shudder. Their perfect crystalline structures were being torn apart by dark matter resonance waves that attacked the very fabric of their bioengineered technology. It wasn't just a victory. It was proof that humanity's understanding of the universe had surpassed their would-be conquerors. Signal from the command ship, Chen announced. High Marshal Cathax is demanding to know what technology we're using. Tell him it's something they should have seen coming. Elena replied. Sometimes the best advantage is the one your opponent dismisses as impossible. As the battle unfolded, Elena couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The Arcturus Dominion had come to suppress what they saw as humanity's dangerous unpredictability. Instead, they had forced humanity to prove exactly why that unpredictability was their greatest strength. The battle for Earth's future was just beginning, and Commander Elena Reyes intended to show the galaxy exactly what one species' chaos could accomplish. The Arcturus command ship's crystalline surface fractured under another burst of dark matter resonance. High Marshal Cathax's fleet had never encountered anything like this before. Their sensors couldn't even properly detect the energy that was tearing through their supposedly impenetrable hulls. Dark matter core holding at 93%, Dr. Petal reported, her voice tight with concentration. The theoretical models are proving accurate, but we're pushing the equipment beyond its tested limits. Commander Reyes watched as dozens of Dominion ships attempted to regroup, their perfect formation now broken. The Arcturians' greatest strength, their unified hierarchical approach to warfare, was becoming their weakness. They couldn't adapt quickly enough to an enemy that defied their carefully calculated predictions. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, "They're bringing in their heavy carriers." Through the main viewport, massive crystalline structures emerged from quantum space. Dominion carriers, each one housing thousands of bioengineered fighter craft. Under normal circumstances, such a force would spell certain doom for a single defending vessel. Dr. Patel, Elena commanded, initiate Stage 2 of the dark matter cascade. Let's show them why humans never stopped studying what they dismissed as chaotic energy. The dark matter core's rhythm changed, its pulse becoming more erratic. The Defiant's human crew had spent years learning to work with the unpredictable nature of dark matter rather than trying to control it. While the Arcturians had rejected dark matter research as too unstable for their orderly minds, humanity had embraced its chaos. Incoming transmission from Earth Command, Lieutenant Chen announced. The other defense fleets are reporting similar success. The Dominion's crystalline technology is vulnerable across all fronts. Elena allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity hadn't just developed one experimental ship. They had prepared an entire hidden fleet, each vessel equipped with dark matter technology. The Arcturians' intelligence networks had been so focused on conventional weapons that they'd missed humanity's true technological revolution. The Dominion carriers launched their fighters, thousands of crystalline vessels swarming toward the Defiant like angry insects. But as they entered the ship's dark matter field, their coordinated movements began to falter. The bioengineered neural networks that linked their pilots couldn't function properly in the chaotic energy field. Their fighter squadrons are losing cohesion, Rodriguez reported. The dark matter field is disrupting their hive-mind coordination. Quantum fluctuations detected in the enemy fleet, Dr. Patel added. They're attempting to adapt their crystalline structure to resist the dark matter resonance. Elena had expected this. The Arcturians weren't stupid. They were highly intelligent and adaptable within the confines of their ordered worldview. But that was precisely why they couldn't counter this attack effectively. Their adaptations followed predictable patterns, while human innovation embraced chaos. Chief Engineer Morris, Elena called out, initiate the random frequency modulation sequence. Aye, Commander, Morris responded. Though I still say using random number generation based on human brainwave patterns is crazy enough to work. That was exactly why it would work. The Defiant's dark matter field began shifting in truly unpredictable ways, its frequencies guided by the chaos of human consciousness itself. The Dominion's crystalline ships, trying to adapt to what they thought was a pattern, found themselves facing something that defied their fundamental understanding of technology. Enemy fighters are breaking formation, Rodriguez announced with satisfaction. Multiple crystalline structure failures detected. Their entire attack pattern is collapsing. Through the tactical display, Alina watched as the mighty Dominion fleet struggled against an enemy they couldn't understand. Their perfect formations dissolved into chaos as ship after ship found their crystalline technology failing in new and unexpected ways. Signal from High Marshal Thax, Chen reported. They're requesting a ceasefire. The bridge crew fell silent. In all of recorded history, the Arcturus Dominion had never requested a ceasefire. Their philosophy didn't even have a word for retreat, only tactical redeployment. Put him through, Alina ordered, straightening her uniform. Thax's holographic image appeared, his crystalline features showing visible stress fractures, a sign of extreme emotional disturbance in his species. Commander Reyes, what is this technology? Our sensors cannot even properly classify the energy you're using. That's because you stopped looking for answers when they didn't fit your predetermined patterns, Alina replied. Humanity never stopped exploring the chaos you feared. We learned to work with it, to harness it. Dark matter isn't unstable. It's just free from the limitations of conventional physics. The High Marshal's expression shifted through several crystalline patterns before settling on one that Alina's xenobiology training identified as grudging respect. Perhaps we have made an error in our assessment of your species. The error, Alina said firmly, was in thinking that difference means inferiority. Humanity's chaos, as you call it, is exactly what drives our innovation. We don't just adapt, we revolutionize. As if to emphasize her point, another wave of dark matter resonance rippled through space, causing the remaining Dominion ships to shudder. The mighty Arcturus fleet, pride of the galaxy's most powerful civilization, was being held at bay by a single human vessel and the revolutionary thinking that had created it. The ceasefire had lasted exactly 6 hours before the deeper implications of humanity's dark matter technologies sent shockwaves through the Arcturus Dominion's carefully ordered society. Commander Alina Reyes stood at her station aboard the ISS Defiant, watching as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Multiple quantum signatures detected at the edge of the system. Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, "But these aren't Dominion patterns. We're picking up ships from at least 3 different species." Alina studied the tactical display as vessels from the galaxy's other civilizations emerged from quantum space. The Meridian Collective's organic ships pulse with bioluminescent patterns. The Silicon Concordet's crystalline vessels, though similar in appearance to Arcturus technology, moved with distinctly different formations. Even the mysterious Nexus Assembly, known for their neutrality, had sent observers. "They're all broadcasting on open frequencies," Lieutenant Chen reported. "They're requesting to witness the negotiations." Of course they were. The Arcturus Dominion had dominated galactic politics for millennia through their supposed technological superiority. Now a single human ship had not only survived their attack, but had forced them to request a ceasefire. The balance of power was shifting. "Dr. Patel," Alina called out, "status of our dark matter core." "Stable and adapting, Commander," Patel responded with pride. "The random frequency modulations are actually improving our control. It's as if the dark matter responds better to chaos than order." That was the key insight that had led to humanity's breakthrough. While other species tried to impose order on the universe, humans had learned to work with its inherent chaos. The dark matter core wasn't just a weapon. It was proof that a fundamentally different approach to physics was possible. New transmission from the Arcturus command ship, Chen announced. High Marshal Thax is requesting permission to come aboard. The bridge crew exchanged glances. An Arcturus High Marshal had never set foot on a vessel of another species. Their crystalline biology made them extremely particular about their environment, and their rigid social hierarchy usually demanded that others come to them. "Permission granted," Alina replied after a moment's consideration. "Have Dr. Patil adjust our dark matter field to avoid any interference with his crystalline structure, and inform Earth Command. They'll want to witness this." As the crew prepared for this historic meeting, Alina received another surprising report. The Meridian Collective, ancient rivals of the Arcturus Dominion, were offering humanity immediate trade agreements. The Silicon Concordat was requesting technical exchanges. Even the Nexus Assembly had broken their traditional silence to express interest in human innovation. They're not just impressed by our technology, Elena realized aloud. They're impressed by how we think. Commander, Rodriguez interrupted, detecting unusual activity in the Dominion fleet. Their ships are reconfiguring. The tactical display showed the crystalline vessels of the Arcturus fleet gradually shifting their structure. Instead of their usual rigid formations, they were adopting more fluid, adaptable patterns. They were learning faster than anyone had expected. High Marshal Cathax materialized in the Defiance conference room, his crystalline form refracting the light in complex patterns. Elena noted that he had chosen to come alone, breaking centuries of protocol that required a High Marshal to be accompanied by guards. Commander Reyes, Cathax began, his crystalline features shifting to express formal respect. My civilization has spent millennia perfecting our society through order and control. We believe this was the only path to advancement. You have proven us incomplete in our understanding. Not incomplete, Elena corrected diplomatically, just different. Humanity's strength isn't in chaos itself, but in our ability to find new patterns in what others see as disorder. Yes, Cathax agreed, his crystal structure resonating with what Elena recognized as excitement. Already, our scientists are discovering that by introducing controlled chaos into our crystalline matrices, we can achieve configurations we never thought possible. Your dark matter technology hasn't just challenged our military supremacy, it has challenged our entire understanding of the universe. An alert chime sounded, and Lieutenant Chen's voice came over the intercom. Commander, priority message from Earth Command. They're detecting quantum fluctuations from multiple Dominion worlds. Their entire civilization appears to be experimenting with chaos. Elena couldn't help but smile. This was humanity's true victory, not defeating the Arcturus Dominion, but showing them a new way of thinking. The rigid hierarchy that had ruled the galaxy was giving way to something new, something that combined order and chaos in ways no one had imagined possible. High Marshal, Elena said, I believe we have an opportunity here that goes beyond military concerns. Humanity would be willing to share our understanding of dark matter physics, to work together in exploring these new possibilities. Cathax's crystalline form shifted through several complex patterns before settling into one that Elena had never seen before, something between order and chaos, rigid geometry, and fluid motion. Commander Reyes, I believe you have just initiated the greatest change in galactic society since the formation of the Dominion itself. As if to emphasize his words, the tactical display showed more ships arriving through quantum space. Not just military vessels now, but research ships, diplomatic envoys, and cultural exchanges from dozens of species. The galaxy was awakening to new possibilities, and humanity's unique perspective was at the heart of this transformation. The turning point wasn't just in the battle, Elena realized. It was in showing the galaxy that progress didn't have to follow a single ordered path. Sometimes the greatest achievements came from embracing the chaos and finding new patterns in the disorder. The next 3 days aboard the ISS Defiant became a whirlwind of diplomatic activity as the ripple effects of humanity's dark matter revelation spread through the galaxy. Commander Elena Reyes found herself at the center of a transformation that went far beyond military victory. Another outbreak of spontaneous restructuring on Arcturus Prime, Lieutenant Chen reported, monitoring the flood of interstellar communications. 3 more crystalline cities have begun incorporating chaos patterns into their architecture. The news feeds showed remarkable images from the Arcturus homeworld. The once rigid crystalline spires that had symbolized their order-obsessed society were now flowing with organic curves and unpredictable patterns. It was as if centuries of suppressed creativity were suddenly breaking free. Fascinating, Dr. Patel commented, studying the data. They're not just copying our technology. They're developing their own interpretations of chaos theory. Some of these configurations are completely novel. Elena watched as the tactical display showed yet another wave of ships arriving through quantum space. The Defiant had become an impromptu gathering point for species across the galaxy, all drawn by humanity's demonstration that there were other ways to approach technology and society. "Commander," Rodriguez called out urgently, detecting major power fluctuations from the Arcturus command ship. "Their entire crystalline structure is evolving." Through the viewport, Alina watched as High Marshal Cathax's flagship underwent a stunning transformation. The rigid geometric patterns that had defined Arcturus engineering for millennia were flowing like liquid crystal, forming new configurations that merged order and chaos in beautiful, impossible ways. "Incoming transmission from the Arcturus High Council," Chen announced. "They're reporting widespread social evolution across their territories." The message painted an extraordinary picture. The Dominion's rigid hierarchy was dissolving as its citizens began experimenting with new forms of organization. Younger Arcturians, inspired by humanity's example, were pushing for reforms. The once monolithic empire was fragmenting, not into chaos, but into a diverse tapestry of communities exploring different paths. "Multiple diplomatic requests incoming," Chen continued. "The Meridian Collective is proposing a joint research initiative. The Silicon Concordat wants to establish cultural exchange programs. Even the Nexus Assembly is offering to open their archives to human scholars." Chief Engineer Morris's voice came over the intercom, tinged with amazement. "Commander, you need to see this. The Arcturians we're working with, they're starting to innovate, not just following procedures, but actually theorizing and experimenting. It's like they've discovered scientific creativity for the first time." Alina understood the magnitude of what was happening. The Arcturus Dominion had maintained its power through rigid control of technology and society. Now that control was giving way to something new, not pure chaos, but a dynamic balance between order and innovation. "Message from Earth Command," Chen reported. "They're detecting similar changes across multiple species. The Meridian Collective is incorporating crystalline elements into their organic technology. The Silicon Concordat is experimenting with biological computing. It's like the entire galaxy is suddenly sharing ideas." They needed permission to change, Alina realized aloud. Not from us, but from themselves. Seeing one species successfully break the patterns gave everyone else the courage to experiment. High Marshal Cathax's hologram appeared on the bridge, his crystalline form now a stunning blend of geometric precision and fluid motion. "Commander Reyes, the High Council is dissolving itself. The old order cannot stand in the face of what's happening. We need your help to manage this transition." Alina noted that Cathax's title of High Marshal seemed almost obsolete now. The military hierarchy he had represented was transforming along with everything else. "What kind of help are you looking for?" she asked carefully. "Understanding," Cathax replied. "Your species has always lived with chaos, balanced order, and disorder. We need to learn how to do the same, or these changes will tear our civilization apart." Through the tactical display, Alina watched as more ships arrived, not just military or diplomatic vessels now, but civilian ships, research vessels, cultural exchanges. The galaxy was rewiring itself, creating new connections and possibilities that no one had imagined possible just days ago. "Send word to Earth Command," Alina ordered. "Tell them we need teachers, artists, philosophers, anyone who can help other species understand how to embrace change without losing themselves. The real challenge isn't winning the war, it's helping the galaxy through this transformation." As if to emphasize her words, the dark matter core pulsed with a new rhythm, its energies somehow harmonizing with the crystalline changes spreading through the Arcturus fleet. Humanity's greatest victory wasn't in defeating an empire, but in showing the galaxy a new way to evolve. 1 month after the battle that changed the galaxy, Commander Alina Reyes stood in the newly constructed Harmony Sphere, a massive space station that combined architectural styles from every major civilization. The ISS Defiant floated nearby, its dark matter core now serving as a template for a new generation of hybrid technologies. "The latest reports from the transformation teams are in," Lieutenant Chen reported, now serving as Earth's diplomatic liaison. 87% of Arcturus territories have successfully integrated chaos theory into their societal structures. Their crime rates have actually decreased as people find healthier ways to express individuality. Through the station's quantum crystal viewport, Alina watched ships from dozens of species moving in complex, interweaving patterns. The rigid formations of the past had given way to an elegant dance that somehow maintained order while embracing unpredictability. Dr. Patel's team has made another breakthrough, Rodriguez announced, examining his datapad. They found a way to combine meridian organic computing with Arcturus crystalline matrices. The processing power is off the charts. The scientific cooperation between species had exceeded everyone's expectations. When the Arcturus Dominion's rigid control crumbled, it released not just their own suppressed creativity, but sparked a renaissance of innovation across the galaxy. "Commander," Chen called out, "the first graduates of the Human Perspective program are ready for their presentation." Elena turned to watch as a group of young aliens entered the chamber. There were Arcturians, their crystalline forms flowing with newfound grace; Meridians, their organic structures incorporating geometric patterns; Silicon Concordat members whose traditional rigid forms now pulsed with living energy. They had spent months learning from human teachers about art, music, philosophy, all the chaos that made human culture so vibrant. Former High Marshal Cathax, now serving as the first director of Galactic Integration, approached Alina. His crystalline form had evolved dramatically, becoming a living artwork that expressed both order and chaos in constant harmony. "Who would have imagined," he mused, "that our attempt to suppress humanity's chaos would lead to the greatest period of growth our galaxy has ever known?" Elena smiled, remembering the desperate battle that had started it all. Sometimes the best victories come from refusing to fight on your enemy's terms. We didn't just show you new technology. We showed you new ways to think. The station's sensors detected another wave of ships arriving through quantum space, but these weren't military vessels or even diplomatic envoys. They were civilian ships carrying artists, scientists, students, and explorers from every corner of the galaxy. The barriers between species were dissolving as each civilization discovered they had something unique to teach and learn. "Message from Earth Command," Chen announced. "The first joint species colony has been established. They're calling it Convergence. The architecture combines elements from all participating civilizations, and they're reporting unprecedented levels of innovation." The news brought a surge of pride. Humanity's greatest contribution hadn't been dark matter technology or military strategy. It had been showing the galaxy that diversity and unpredictability were strengths, not weaknesses. "The Nexus Assembly has completed their analysis," Rodriguez added. "They're calling this the most significant paradigm shift in galactic history. They're comparing it to the discovery of quantum travel." Through the viewport, Alina watched as a group of ships began an impromptu demonstration of the new combined technologies. Crystalline vessels flowed like liquid, organic ships moved with mathematical precision, and energy patterns danced between them in ways that defied traditional physics. It was beautiful, unpredictable, and perfectly controlled all at once. "We're detecting some unusual readings from the dark matter field," Dr. Patel reported excitedly. "The combined technologies are creating completely new phenomena. It's as if the universe itself is responding to our cooperation." Elena understood what she meant. By breaking down the barriers between order and chaos, between species and technologies, they had opened up possibilities that no one had imagined existed. The galaxy wasn't just changing, it was evolving into something entirely new. "To think," Cathax observed, "we once saw your species as a threat because you refused to follow established patterns. Now we understand that breaking patterns is how the universe grows." As if to emphasize his words, a brilliant aurora of quantum energy and dark matter rippled through space, a natural phenomenon created by the interaction of so many different technologies and species working in harmony. It was chaos and order, pattern and randomness, all working together to create something beautiful. The ISS Defiant's dark matter core pulsed in response, its rhythm now part of a greater symphony of galactic cooperation. Humanity had faced extinction and instead sparked a revolution, not through force of arms, but through the power of thinking differently. "Commander," Chen called out softly, "Earth Command is asking what we should call this new era." Elena looked out at the swirling colors of the quantum aurora, at the ships of former enemies now moving in harmonious patterns, at the faces of young aliens eager to explore new ways of thinking. The answer seemed obvious. "Call it the age of convergence," she replied. "Because that's what happens when you stop trying to control the chaos and learn to dance with it instead."